The thug is in.
What is up, guys? This is Logan, also known as LRC on Pokemon Showdown, and yes, we're back with some ADV 1v1 content, finally! So I just played a best of 5 versus Mr. X Trazy in week 5 of the Old Gens Premier League, and I'm just going to go through my prep and my mindset through the game because I feel like I haven't contributed to that for ADV 1v1 in a while, so let's get into it. So, Team 1, my general prep into Mr. X Tracy and SMB just as a precursor. Well, I guess I could actually just explain that through how I explain the team. So as you can see here, we have Arcanine. Arcanine is just a really good Pokemon. It's easily the best fire type because it beats all the steels and ices that you want it to. But because of Intimidate, you also finesse things that should be fire types like Marowak, Armaldo, just random stuff. You beat a lot of stuff. But often what you run is Toxic and then you run Agility because, or not, you don't run Toxic, you run Agility Overheat because if you just run Overheat, you can lose the Sceptile that when they click sub 2 or 3 times, then they eat an Overheat and then they can just leech stall you. But what I found is that on this preview of Arcanine Sceptile Blissey, you'd really have to be stupid to pick Sceptile into it. I mean, like, because Sceptile theoretically loses to all of these and maybe ties other Sceptile, but you should have a Sceptile answer on your team that isn't just Sceptile. Hilariously, Mr. X Tracy has, like, probably 3 here, but, yeah, so I decided to run an Arcanine with HP Electric because I liked how it lured Gyarados. Mr. X Tracy loved using Gyarados as a fire-type answer. As you can see here, guess what I'm about to click. And then I just threw on a Blissey because it's good. And then I threw on a Banned Sceptile. And I'll explain the Banned Sceptile because I do end up bringing this team later. But I'll explain that later. But obviously, just to get through with it, the click here is obvious. I kick Arcanine. He doesn't go as Gyarados. The reason that I think he doesn't go Gyarados here is my team doesn't have an obvious Gyarados answer. It could either be this really interesting defensive Thunder Punch Sceptile, or he was either afraid of maybe an Arcanine. He obviously wasn't afraid of an Arcanine, though. He was afraid of the Sceptile and therefore clicked Scizor into the Sceptile. And I look a lot cooler this way because I didn't even get to reveal my hidden power electric tech, and I destroy Scizor. All right, wait, let me switch sides. So game 2, oh wait, let me go like this. Here we go. We're on the second team. Maybe I should I like you? Can I like whatever? You can see everything pretty much. Pretty much you can see everything. I mean, you know that it's Registeel. Either way. So on this squad, I decided I wanted to bring this really interesting, speedy Iron Defense plus counter Registeel because it lures a lot of things that try to just crit and beat Registeel. Not only does counter beat everything that's banded minus like Medicham with this spread, but it also, with Iron Defense, you can lure things that try to Dragon Dance up or Curse up and then just try to crit through Registeel, or they just beat counter Registeel outright, because usually they would run Amnesia over Iron Defense. So here I wanted to try a speedy ID counter Registeel that also lures Marowak, because Mr. X Tracy used Marowak a bit. I just think it would be a really good idea because often people will run a Pokemon like that for the Registeel answer. Unfortunately here we have Arcanine. Then my Arcanine here is the same concept, except it's just Hidden Power Grass to lure Swampert. And then Toxic, I forgot to mention before, is for other Arcanine, which is really key here. And then my Alakazam, I wanted a Pokemon that, this is a new innovation of mine, I wanted a Pokemon that could beat Raikou and Kingdra and Vaporeon really reliably. And the problem with no bulk, no leftovers Alakazam like Pattaya is that you actually just get rain danced on by like a Kingdra or a Ludicolo or something like that, and then you just get pummeled by Hydro Pump. Like, yeah, you can fish for a miss with sub, but like they can miss one and they'll be okay. Often, but I just wanted to be really solid versus Raikou as well, which Lefties helps with that a lot. T-Wave just shuts down things like Rain Dance Colo, Rain Dance Kingdra, and can also annoy like Dragon Dance plus attack Pokemon, such as like Ments or like D-Knight, and T-Wave is just a good move in general. It's yellow magic. So either way, into this preview, at first I almost lazily clicked Arcanine. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna pick Arcanine into their Arcanine. Their Arcanine looks really good. Like, Arcanine looks like a potential 3-0 to my team besides the Arcanine Ditto. And I'm gonna click my Toxic Arcanine and beat that Arcanine. However, I thought about it a little bit more, right? And also, if you're this far, first off, I want you to comment ADV 1v1 is back. Please comment that. And secondly, I want you to know that the length of this video does not necessarily mean that there was 5 games. I'm just keeping that link so that it kind of removes spoilers and you can like really enjoy the process in case you aren't in the ADV 1v1 scene. Either way. So here with the Arcanine, I had to look at it from his perspective, and I'm known for throwing out banned Registeel. And if you also look at my team looks really weak to Tyranitar because Tyranitar beats Arcanine, it pummels Alakazam, and it can taunt Dragon Dance Earthquake on a Registeel and beat that as well. And I feel like this would, I mean, like, maybe I should have just sussed out that it was actually just a banned Tyranitar, because otherwise the Raikou matchup is really awkward, and to beat Raikou, well, no, because you could just run Taunt, you could just run Dragon Dance plus Rock Slide, and you're fine versus Raikou, so never mind, that was fine. But either way, here's what my process was, right? So I thought to myself, okay, he's probably scared of banned Registeel beating the Tyranitar, so he could click Arcanine into that. But I was also thinking he's scared of some sort of Arcanine lure. And the most probable culprit of an Arcanine lure on my team would surely be my own Arcanine, because Alakazam has an awkward matchup versus Arcanine. Like you know, Arcanine can just overheat or just E-speed or like just E-speed twice depending on attack. Like Arcanine has a really positive matchup in the Alakazam, and Alakazam would have a really hard time beating it. Like, it would probably have to try to like sub and then maybe counter on the E-speed. That's a cool idea for later if you guys want to try counter Alakazam. Another random thing, I once actually ran counter Alakazam to beat as a fourth option on all-out attacking set to beat a weak, or no, to beat Regirock that clicks HP Rock turn 1, because you can live it, like a non-banned HP Rock, and then you just counter on the HP Rock. Either way, so, and I also thought that maybe he's scared of my Arcanine beating his own Arcanine. And, of course, he doesn't want to go Tyranitar into that Arcanine, because I just don't think he's that ballsy of a player. That's not to diss him. He's just not, he doesn't just go for, like, those aggressive, like, crazy plays like that. Maybe he's just not an overthinker, and that's my downfall. And he wouldn't pick Tyranitar into the Arcanine because he's scared of the Registeel. And so I genuinely thought he was going to go Ludicolo, which sounds weird, because why go Ludicolo into Arcanine when you can go T-Tar into Arcanine? But I thought he was going to think, like, okay, it's banned Registeel. He's going to go, banned Registeel does lose to a Rain Dance Ludicolo because Superpower doesn't 2-hit KO, and they can Rain Dance and then Hydro Pump twice, stuff like that. And Ludicolo also has a really positive matchup into Alakazam, honestly. Like, you can just Rain Dance power past it. And I thought he would just go Ludicolo as a safer option, or as an option, and that's why I picked my Ludicolo answer, which was the Alakazam. Unfortunately, we got Arcanine. However, I could still finesse this matchup. I decided to sub to fish for an overheat miss, and with lefties, this is a lot better. I revealed the sub lefties, and then here I was going to try to T-Wave. I decided to sub again to fish for the overheat miss. And once you look at that, I got the miss. I could have T-Waved here, but Psychic was actually potential to 3-hit KO, along with the fact that he could just get this, that I could, along with the fact that the Spadef drop could happen, along with the fact that the Spadef drop could happen. So here, he's gonna obviously E-speed to break the sub so that he doesn't miss with overheat. I click the Psychic, bam. And then what really surprised me here is, so Psychic, unfortunately, I didn't get the rolls that I wanted. It was probably in my favor to kill it, but he makes a not very good play. I lost this match, I realized. But here's the problem with this play is that, okay, so yeah, I Psychic here, but what you should do here is you should E-speed twice, because overheat can literally miss, and then you just lose the game. When E-speed twice is way safer here, so I didn't really understand that. Unless he's like, I just didn't understand that when E-speed should most likely like take down 2. Maybe he was afraid of me being bulky because I was lefties, stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunate. Also, this Zam set is wrong. I had a little bit less Spadef. I'll post all my teams in the description, but it was actually I had put more special attack and less Spadef so that I could eat 252 plus Magnet Thunderbolts from Raikou after a Calm Mind. But yeah, so unfortunately, I lost this game too. Kind of unfortunate with the rolls, but he did miss an overheat, and yeah. So I lost that one. A thumbnail Pokemon, Kingler, is in the building. The story behind Kingler. I was playing an ADV 1v1 room tour match, and 5Luke pulled out the fucking Kingler. And I've seen him use it before, but I never really gave it any credit. And my team got 3-0'd by it that I was running. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. is this thing good? And I looked at it, I think it's actually not bad. This thing can stall out a ton of stuff with Amnesia plus Rest. It's surprisingly bulky, and with Shell Armor, you can't get crit. But the real kicker about Kingler is that it wouldn't be able to beat a lot of the things that it does, like Vaporeon and Regice, if it didn't have base 75 speed out of nowhere, which is awesome. It really differentiates itself from like the super niche Curse Amnesia Wailord. And Harden plus Amnesia, you just 3-0 stuff. Now, unfortunately, ignore the knockoff here. It's actually Mimic because knockoff plus Amnesia is not available, which is unfortunate. All right, it's Metal Claw. Knockoff is not compatible with Amnesia. Knockoff's only matchup that it gets is that it beats, that it should take down Registeel, because you can knock off the lefties as they struggle themselves to death. And even though you're struggling, you get leftovers recovery. So either way, Kingler's really interesting. It's really interesting. And it beats Metagross, and this is the Marowak, beats Ments, stuff like that. You kind of have to predict the Ments set, I guess, like if it's banned, but nobody runs banned, except me, as you can see here. Because I paired it with good old max attack, max speed, banned Ments. People sleep on this thing. They're running all this quirky Dragon Dance sub stuff or sub Pataya or bulky banned Ments. Nah, man, I'm just going to go max attack, max speed. I don't give a fuck. And it has a solid matchup here. So in preview, I realized, all right, Kingler beats, he doesn't know what Kingler does, and I gave him too much credit on this in hindsight, I think. But he has Jirachi and Arcanine. Both of these Pokemon get stomped by Kingler. I mean, like, Jirachi just dies to Amnesia plus Rest, and I just beat it. I should just, like, I should destroy the Rachi, which is cool. With Metal Claw, I have Metal Claw, by the way. Again, I have Metal Claw, which is, like, a lot of PP, can boost my attack, and I would just win the Struggle War. So, because this is probably Calm Mind 3 attacks. And so Kingler beats these two. However, it does in fact lose to not banned Ursaring, but it loses to a Swords Dance Ursaring. And I know SMB is on their team, and he likes this SD Ursaring set because it's better into Registeel. And I genuinely thought, I probably gave him too much credit, I really thought that he was going to go Ursaring to try to take down the Kingler. I guess I kind of assumed he knew what Kingler did, but I really thought he was going to go Ursaring into the Kingler, or he was going to go Ursaring to try to take down the Marowak, because Marowak would have been picked into Rachi into the Salamence, because Rachi can ice you in the Salamence and beat it. I really, really thought he was going to pick Ursaring. Then again, I guess I gave him too much credit, and as you can see, I didn't pick the Kingler, I picked the Salamence, and unfortunately, he was of course balked for max attack Earthquake, and he got a crit with Icy Wind, but it shouldn't have mattered because I was no bulk. And there you go. The Jirachi beat the Ments. And I really don't understand this play unless, because like Arcanine also beats Marowak, and with HP Ice, which is its most common hit in power, it beats the Ments. So like, I guess maybe the Arcanine wasn't HP Ice, I guess. And so he picked Jirachi into the Ments. I feel like I just kind of overestimated my opponent here. I really liked the Kingler, and the Kingler would have won. And unfortunately, I did not pick the Kingler. Unfortunately so. But Kingler would have been such a sick win. But yeah, I'm still bummed about that. This is like just after I recorded. So I'm bummed about that I didn't even get the Kingler win. I mean, like, the ending is cool to all of this, but I was bummed that I didn't get the Kingler win a lot. So yeah, I just thought he would go Ursaring, and of course banned Brick Break kills Ursaring, and Ursaring can't do anything back because it's intimidated. It can like be super defensive and counter, I guess, which is an interesting set for Metagross. But yeah, and so here we go. Oh, Marowak's on the team, I forgot, just to beat Raikou and like defensive Sceptile, or yeah, and like Seed Sceptile, and just to spook out Raikou, and you know, Marowak's just a solid Pokemon. Oh, let's go to game 4. I'm down 1-2. I brought this team that I really just noticed that Metagross and Starmie both had really good matchups into their teams. Like, it just felt like a lot of 2-1s and stuff like that. And so I just brought them as a duo. They kind of cover each other's weaknesses. Like, you know, Starmie kind of pummels like Marowak, fire types, stuff like opposing Metagross it does well into. And then I threw on a Blissey. My team's kind of weak to Metagross, and hilariously, as you can see, Heracross, but I threw on Blissey for like Rain Dance Pokemon, like Ludicolo, even though I do have Sludge Bomb. But whatever. Blissey just felt like a good Pokemon. Helps with Raikou as well. Scope Lenses to counter Scope Lens Raikou, where I have a good chance. Just do Blissey things. I like the Pokemon Blissey. It's a good Pokemon in my opinion. And so here my pick was pretty obvious. I had to pick Starmie. I really thought that he would pick Entei into the Metagross because he was picking Afraid into Metagross in the replays that I saw, and so I really thought he'd go the Entei. And he was not fearful of the Aerial Ace Metagross, which I really wish I ran. But I picked Starmie into the Heracross because it beat these two, and my Heracross matchup was just dodging a Mega Horn. Here's we can see as I sub, it is banned HP Bug or HP Ghost, probably HP Bug. And I'm like, oh shit, well, I gotta kill this with Hydro Pump. We're subbing. We're subbing. We're gonna sub again. And let's see what happens. He clicks HP Bug, and I really thought this was GG, but guess what? I'm modest Starmie, and I get the kill. Timid would not have gotten the kill, but I was modest because I just didn't think they'd be bringing any Tauroses, and a lot of Starmies are timid now. And I was right. I got the win into the Heracross, and we are on to Game 5. So, Game 5, I was originally going to bring a team that had Raikou, Kingdra, and this Venusaur, but I decided, I was like, you know what? I didn't reveal that I had HP Electric on my Arcanine. He has no clue what my other sets are with the Sceptile and the Blissey. And I brought this. Now, in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have brought this because I realized that he was using SMB teams, and SMB does not like to use Vaporeon or Raikou, which this team really likes to lure with the banned Sceptile with Solar Beam, which, by the way, is a really cool tech that I came up with 2 years ago, actually, that I was forgotten about. Because you might think, okay, Leaf Blade should just beat Vaporeon, right? No, it doesn't. Leaf Blade fails to 2-hit KO Vaporeon because of the leftovers recovery it gets before Ice Beam. So the idea with Solar Beam is that you charge up, you take the Ice Beam, then you get into Overgrow range, and Solar Beam KOs Vaporeon. So it's just a really cool idea. It makes you weaker to, like, as you can see, like Starmie and stuff like that, because like they can potentially kill you with Ice Beam. They usually do, actually, and you can't really KO them. But either way, you already know the concept of this team. It's preview time. So, this is just a really simple, not simple, but it feels like a 50-50. Either he has Scizor, which should beat Sceptile and Blissey usually. Sometimes Sceptile is sub-HP Fire for Scizor. Or he goes Starmie into the Arcanine, which would beat the Scizor that beats the other two. Or he goes yeah. And my pick was obviously, okay, I either predict the Scizor to come out and I pick my Arcanine, which also is toxic, so it beats their Arcanine in case they decide to use that for some reason, which I didn't think they would because they have a Scizor that beats the Sceptile and Blissey. Arcanine beats Sceptile and not Blissey, unless it's some crazy band set, which I think is worth exploring, honestly. Like, I think band, like, Hidden Power fighting could be interesting for Blissey and Tyranitar, because then you can still run Overheat and, like, destroy things like Scizor, Metagross. You could run E-Speed to still beat, like, you know, Alakazam and stuff like that. I think it's worth exploring. Either way. Then again, you'd probably lose to Marowak, huh? Maybe Return can do it. I don't know. Either way. And so really, I really thought that he would go Starmie. I thought that he would go Starmie into the Arcanine, which was going to be picked into the Scizor. I just thought he was going to go Starmie, and then I also figured, hey, if I go Blissey and they go Scizor, I can just freeze their ass with 20%. With 20% freeze with Serene Grace. And as you can see, he went Scizor, unfortunately. I did Ice Beam, and what did we get? We got the freeze. Can he get the 10% thaw? He's frozen. I Seismic Toss. He gets the lefty's recovery. He's frozen again. We get the Seismic Toss. We just need 2 more freezes. He thaws. And he Swords Dances again. Got the toss, and I really just needed 1 more toss, but unfortunately he froze at he unthawed at one of the last 2 times. 10% chance. And we got it. We got it. And as you can see, SMBC says my balls busted open. And Mr. X Tracy said, thank you, SMBZ, because he did not build himself. And I lost the series, which is unfortunate, because I loved prepping for this series. I still enjoy ADV 1v1. And yeah, it was an unfortunate loss. But hey, you know what? You can't just record the wins. You also got to record the losses. So either way, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that stuff if you stay till the end. Let me know what you thought of my prep. Let me know what you thought of everything. Give me some insightful comments, not just ADV rap. I'll see you guys on the next video.